Today's topic in the Architecture Club is the building designer Henry Yevele. In medieval times, there was no profession of architect. People didn't train as architects and weren't described as such, but buildings were still designed. And in those days, it was often the master mason who designed the building, and he also did the construction. Yevele was one such master mason, and he designed a number of the most significant buildings in London at that time. The following slides are examples of his work in London, which you can still visit and which maybe we will visit. The first project that we will look at is the nave at Westminster Abbey. That's the part of the church just here where the congregation sits and prays. It is an excellent example of those elements in a design that can be called the Gothic design. First of all, you can see the fan vaults in the ceiling. That is known as a fan vault, these ribs that fan out from the columns in order to support the roof. The next important element are what are known as the decorated bosses, where the ribs of the fans meet. The bosses are these circular elements here, where the fans meet each other. Those are known as the bosses. The third element that characterizes the Gothic style are these pointed arches. If you can just see here that all of these arches meet in a point. That's very characteristic of the Gothic style. And lastly, there are these ribs that run up the columns here. So the columns, rather than being perfectly circular, have these ribs that run up them. The next design that we will look at by Henry Yevele is the tomb in which the body of Edward III, King Edward III, was laid to rest in 1378. So this is an artifact that's nearly 800 years old. It was made entirely by hand. There were no machines then, no drills, nothing that used electricity, and it is an amazingly intricate piece of work. The features to note, which are particularly Gothic, are these niches, and the word niche we use for these little recesses here, and in this case Henry Yevele carved out these niches in order that he could put in some small sculptures of Edward's children. The lower section of the tomb chest, just here, where the body of Edward will be laid, that essentially is his coffin. That's made from a very hard kind of marble, which is found on the south coast of England in an area known as Purbeck. The canopy, this area over the top here, that's made from oak, again a very hard material and very difficult to carve, particularly in the kind of intricate tracery that formed part of this design.